Well, welcome back, guys.
That was the fastest we've set up, I think.
I think so too.
It's like when you challenge yourself to set up your tent super fast.
I'm so impressed with us. That was
me too.
That was
I
definitely
feel really good.
We really, yeah. High five.
I high-fived myself at first, in case you're wondering why we high-fived again.
It's true. Well, welcome back, guys, to Baby Got Sacks.
We've got quite an interesting choice coming up. This was randomly selected.
Yes.
By one of us.
I think all of them were, except
Besides the last one. Yeah.
Yes.
We wanted keep it Christmassy.
Yes, we wanted to read a Christmassy romance.
Party, kind of. But that's still fairly random.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're just staring at each other.
Happens.
So it's I Am Watching You. Not I'm conjugated. Just I Am Watching You by Teresa Driscoll.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't heard of her other books before. I wrote down the other books she's written. Her Perfect Family, The Friend, The Promise. Hadn't heard of them.
Yeah, I've never read. Well, also, she has Recipes for Melissa and Last Kiss Goodnight.
Oh, maybe those are novellas or something, or short stories. Because
maybe.
I don't know. Where did I get those?
Well, I don't know.
This book was published in 2017. It's classified as a thriller, mystery, suspense. It's also classified as a psychological thriller, though I didn't see that one. Yeah,
I don't see that.
I didn't.
You know, fun fact, I remember when you got this book.
Twice.
Oh, I don't.
Because when you were with me when I bought it, and that lady was checking out what I was buying, and she was like, "Ooh, I love that one," or what, I forget what she liked it.
Yes.
And then I found out that I had previously bought that book already. And that was the second time I was buying it. And so that's why you have a copy, because I bought it twice.
We do that to each other.
But it's a very interesting cover. It's a lady on a beach. You see her back. She's kind of looking off in the distance. And U is written over her with the U circling her with a pen. What did I say?
The U circling her?
Don't worry about it.
It's the O.
Yeah. It's like a pen, scribbling around her, circling her really fast. Yeah. So that's why I bought it twice, because it's very intriguing. And it has a very intriguing premise. Would you like to read to the people?
Yes, I can. Would you like me to read the red as well? How crazy are we getting here today?
You should, in a very suspenseful, movie trailer voice.
Oh, I'll give it a go. A missing girl.
Papa.
A tormented witness. A web of lies. And someone is watching. Dun, dun, dun. When Ella Longfield overhears two attractive young men flirting with teenage girls on a train, she thinks nothing of it, until she realizes they are fresh out of a prison and her maternal instinct is to put on high alert. But just as she's decided to call for help, something stops her. The next day she wakes up to news that one of the girls, beautiful green-eyed Anna Ballard, has disappeared. A year later, Anna is still missing. Ella is racked with guilt over what she failed to do, and she's not the only one who can't forget. Someone is sending her threatening letters that make her fear for her life. Then an anniversary appeal reveals that Anna's friends and family might have something to hide. Anna's best friend Sarah hasn't been telling the whole truth about what really happened that night, and her parents have been keeping secrets of their own. Someone knows where Anna is, and they're not telling, but they are watching Ella.
Sounds so interesting. It sounds really good.
No, it really does.
It sounds better than it is.
Yes, so I'll say what I thought was interesting, that Teresa was a journalist for 25 years, and 15 of those years she was a BBC TV news presenter.
Oh.
So she has firsthand knowledge of covering crime and looking at the ripples that each case has caused and the impact of the families, friends, and witnesses involved. She lives in Devon with her husband and two sons, and she writes women's fiction as well as thrillers. And her novels have been published in 6 different languages, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. Oh, yours? Oh, wait, no, yours doesn't.
Well, I didn't read this part. She says, I was traveling to London one day when two young men really did get on plastic bin bags.
Oh, and then it says, when I found out why, I was both slightly unsettled and deeply intrigued.
So she must have actually meant two prisoners that just got out.
But they didn't say what was in the bags. Okay.
Well, yeah, but like just whatever they were wearing that day when they got
That's true.
booked or whatever. Anyways, I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 4.
This is the lowest ratings we've given thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your reasons.
Just something was missing. I could not put my finger on it. I enjoyed reading it.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
We finished it.
It took me not that long to finish it.
I finished it pretty fast.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I literally cannot put my finger on what was missing. I have no idea.
Let's see if it's one of my reasons for not liking it, because I have a little bit of a list.
More like a lot.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Okay. First of all, I wanted more from the person who's watching's perspective. So the way this is written is we get 3 different perspectives plus the occasional watcher's perspective, making up 4.
Now, I wrote a list of who everyone was.
We'll introduce
so
the players.
we'll get there. But there's the witness,
the
father, the friend.
That's it. And then sometimes the person who watches, but it didn't say like who.
Well, and we also get the private investigator's
that's right.
opinion. And I believe that's it. It's those 3.
And then at the end we get the
And then
son.
we get watching. Yeah, we get the son at one point, but it's always the witness, the friend, and the father.
Primarily, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. And then, sometimes we get the watcher.
I wanted way more the watcher.
Okay.
I wanted to know more about him and his deal, because it felt like there were decent red herrings to make you kind of think it might be someone else, but there was no clues as to who it actually was.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I had no idea until they said it.
No, they did not give no clues. Nothing. And I don't know if you noticed, but the writing kept switching from first to third person.
Didn't realize that at all.
It really annoyed me, because it just changed like how the way you were reading it. It would change. Oh. It's like, that's like rule number 1 in writing. It's like, choose a tense and like stick with it.
I didn't even realize it did that.
It really kept throwing me off.
Didn't even occur to me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the random slut shaming, because like out of nowhere.
Yes.
It was out of nowhere. And every time it like dragged on, and then they not mention it again for a while. It's like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It was so unnecessary. It was not even like a thing that needed to be mentioned.
I think I didn't... maybe what I didn't like about this book was right off the bat, because when she immediately wanted to call the parents for the girl that was hooking up with the guy in the train bathroom, I'm like, what right do you have? They could be older than you think they are, and they're not even...
Like you don't know. Like, and to call their parents, like, just what? You don't want to get away with just kissing a random stranger sometimes? Like, Jesus Christ, lady, sit your ass down. I was so mad. I'm like, who the fuck would actually interfere? And who the fuck would be mad at her for not? I mean, like, yeah, mind your business.
Yeah, it didn't settle well with me.
I didn't like it. Anyways, also, I hated everyone. They should have just, if they just communicated and just was 100% truthful with what happened, they would have gotten this over with.
The big thing about this book is that everyone has a lie.
Yeah, no one's telling exactly what happened that night of the disappearance.
Which was upsetting me. And I tabbed some things. But there was at one point where the friend, Sarah, like I said, we'll get into like names and who's who and all that. But at one point, the friend wanted her friend to be found, but she didn't want to tell the whole truth. I'm like, you have to tell the whole truth. But then
that's how they... Like, if she just told the whole truth, then the only leads they had weren't leads. Then they would have gone and found something else.
Also, there was a trigger warning within this book.
Yeah.
On sexual assault with one of the dads.
And it didn't, like, fully explain.
But
I don't know how to say that.
also, I don't even know why they put it in the book in the first place.
It had nothing to do with anything.
No.
Nothing.
That's what I was like, why is
But
this
then
even
why
in here?
have it in there? Yeah.
It just kind of...
There was no... It was, like, in there just to have something else.
Well, it was in there to make you suspect someone else.
Yeah, but it wasn't even a good option.
No. Okay.
And then, I also have... There was too much unnecessary information on the characters. I don't care about her flower arrangements or how the dad grew up. Because there was, like, detail of her... The witness is a florist, has her own flower shop, and it like cuts to a scene of her thinking and making floral arrangements and like the colors and the flowers of the season. It's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, there's...
And then like the dad, because his parents, his land, his farm was in the family for a long time, so it'd be like, oh, he'd look up and be like, that's where I used to play with bees and I got stuff. I don't care. It didn't make me care about them more. I did not care.
I think there's a way to tell descriptiveness because Sherry LaPena is a really good example of using descriptive writing to tell a different story. Like, I remember the book that we did here on the podcast. Yeah. They had descriptiveness of, like, the seasons or things like that.
Yeah.
But it was
immersive.
Yeah. I think
there was a purpose.
Yeah, I think
this just felt like
too overkill.
Oh, I want to write a book, not a short story, so I'm just gonna keep adding on. I need to meet my word count or something.
I could see that.
Yeah, I did like the short chapters. It made it fast to read, and so I didn't have a problem reading it for this, even though I was not 100% on board.
Yeah,
and I think so. The disappearance happens, and then it cuts to a year later when everything else happens.
Yes.
It should have been within, like, the first week or two of the disappearance. I think what was missing for you was, like, the sense of, like, pressure or, like, intensity. Because there was no urgency. Like, a year later, yes, she's probably dead. But if it was closer to the disappearance, you feel rushed, like, we need to hurry up because, like, every day maybe she is dead.
I could see that.
But, like, there was no, like... There's no... It would have been higher stakes if it was within, the first week.
Because you and I have watched lots of crime shows.
Yeah.
Lots of true documentaries.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's always crucial in that beginning.
Yeah, like the first 24 hours, most important.
Yeah.
48 hours, you're already losing
the
chances of them being alive. And so I feel like if they just did all this within a week even... It would have added that pressure, added more suspense.
Like 6 months. And
even. Yeah. Just, like, add a sense of urgency. Because at this point, like, yeah, you're not going to change the outcome.
Like I said, I liked the book.
It was fine.
But I just, I've read so many, like, better books.
Yeah. This is, like... If you're just gonna start out in thrillers, or mysteries, this is like the baby step into it.
Yeah,
this is the gateway book.
But
there are much better options out there.
It makes me question to read like her other books.
I don't think I would. Every book is valid. It's not easy to write a book, let alone get a book published.
No.
So, good on her. It's someone's favorite book somewhere.
Especially since her novels have been published in 6 languages. I mean,
if she was a journalist, that's really cool. And it is set in England. So, you do get British slang again, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't look any of it up.
You can catch it, what they're saying, basically.
That's true.
Even if you're not getting, like,
that's true.
The exact definition. But yeah, that is my list. Oh, yeah, I like the multiple POVs, but we needed more of the Watcher.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was, like, 2 or 3... I don't want to say chapters. They're not chapters, but...
Yeah, instead of chapter numbers, they're... it does have chapter numbers.
No.
Oh, I thought I saw 24 somewhere.
Well...
Because it says, like, chapter 24, The Witness, or something.
Chapter 24, The Friend, and then there's Watching. And then chapter 25,
The
Witness.
Yeah, the Watcher's part isn't, like, an actual chapter.
It talks about, like, time frame, which I don't know what that's pertain... Like, this one says watching 8 p.m.
But it doesn't give a day.
No.
So you don't know what day they're talking about.
Should I go over main characters?
Yes.
Okay. Took me a minute to figure this one out. Okay, so the main characters are Ella, who's the witness. Henry Ballard is the father. Sarah is the friend. Obviously, Anna is the missing. And then Matthew's the private investigator. We then have Tony, who is Ella's husband, and Luke, who is the son of Ella and Tony. Barbara is the wife of Henry Ballard, and Henry and Barbara are the parents of Anna. Anna has a sister named Jenny. Sarah has a sister named Lily, who goes by
Saffron.
Thank you. And then Tim and Paul are Sarah and Anna's friends combined, so they have a group which includes Sarah, Anna, Jenny, Tim, and Paul. And I think they went to school together, which is how they know each other. And then Melanie is, I wrote the police pal. She is the investigator that is actually on the case, but is Matthew's friend. Now, Matthew used to be in the police force. He quit or resigned, and now he's in private investigator.
Which his background didn't matter at all either. I didn't really it wasn't necessary to find out why he left the force.
I didn't mind it. It was okay. Okay, so
I don't think Lily's nickname is Saffron. I feel like it starts with a C, but it's some kind of spice.
No, it's Saffron.
Is it Saffron?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think so. So, like Mel said, we start this book on July 2015, and it is in the perspective of Ella seeing Sarah and Anna in the train. They meet Anthony, stupid name, and I don't remember
name.
Carl with a K.
With a K.
I tabbed it, thank God.
Oh, Carl.
So Carl had served a sentence at prison for assault and Anthony for theft. And Carl said that he was sticking up for a friend and his friend was being picked on at a bar and he hates bullying. Whatever. And so they were covered in tattoos and all this girl. And so then Ella, in her perspective, she at one point she says, "Good girl, I am thinking, sensible girl, spare me the intervention, Anna." So she's already thinking that these girls are goody two-shoes, they would never do anything bad, and that she has to be the one to step in.
Yeah.
Which clearly she doesn't. But so she doesn't. She gets off the train.
Well, what she was kind of thinking she didn't need to, but then the guys mention a party that they want, or a club. The girls want to go to, and you should meet us there. And they, it was Sarah who got up with Carl or Anthony, and they were walking to go get more drinks from the drink car or whatever, and Ella kind of follows them and then realized that Sarah and the dude are in the bathroom.
I think Anthony.
Yeah. Or she hears them making out or whatever. And she's like,
on.
ugh, what she is I can't believe she would do that. She just met him. And then loses be like, ugh, fine, whatever, they can do whatever. I'm not gonna say anything. I don't need to intervene. They're not good.
Which
it's so dumb.
Don't intervene.
It's not your business.
I was like, are you kidding me? And so then she leaves, she goes to the hotel, she wakes up in the morning, and she sees Anna is missing on the news, which I was like, okay. I really don't think that they would put it on the news so quickly.
No.
In reality.
But, yeah. They were also saying how so much of it was leaked. Ella's name gets leaked. Because instead of saying just a witness, they were saying her actual name. That's how people find out it's her. And later on, a lot of things get leaked and are, live on the news. And it's just a mess.
Yeah. So then we learn about Henry Ballard. Why they say his full name, I don't know. It kind of bugs me, but I didn't write this book, so there you go.
Yeah.
So at the end of every chapter, and I mean every chapter, there's like, I don't want to say a hint, but it ends on a cliffhanger. So the second chapter ends with, what if they found out that it wasn't only that? We're in the dad's perspective. So it's like, well, okay, what do you mean? Like, throughout this entire book, you're questioning literally everything. But this book didn't put me on edge like Sherry LaPena does. Like, Sherry LaPena makes me, like, anxious to read.
Keep going.
Because I'm so invested in these people that I'm so scared to get attached.
Yeah. Because you're like, oh no, I like this guy. I don't want him to actually have been the one to do it. None of these people, you're like, I don't care. Let it be them.
Yeah. So then we go to the friend, which is Sarah. Sarah's chapter ends with, we've had a call from a witness. A witness? Yes, a woman on the train. And she feels, like, drained from her face. So now she's panicking. And you're like, okay, well, what?
Why?
Yeah.
It's like, exactly. Just say why.
Like I said, literally every single chapter ends with a cliffhanger of, okay, what is going on? So then, after those three perspectives, we go to July 2016. So it says 1 year on, which I'm like, okay.
1 year on.
Yeah, don't know what that's all about.
Later. Use the word later.
So then we hear the very first postcard.
Oh, yeah.
Now these postcards are being sent to Ella, who's the witness. The very first postcard was inside an envelope, a black card with letters cut out of a magazine. First one said, "Why didn't you help her?"
Yeah.
A little ominous.
A little bit.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
We do jump around. I don't know if we continue with... So, the very first, like, section of the book where it's 2015, it goes, the witness, the father, the friend.
I think it does.
Does it do that? Because it looks like the witness, the father... I think
it doesn't do two in a row. If it goes in the same order, I don't know, but it definitely doesn't do two back to back.
No. I think it does go the witness, the father, but I know we enter the
here's
private
the father,
investigator.
the witness, and then the next one's the father again.
Okay. So then we go to the father, which, like I said, even in chapter 5, they're still saying Henry Ballard. Okay. Why can't we just call him Henry? Why do we need his full name? I understand he's the father because it starts with the father. I get it. Just call him Henry. So then I was confused on who Sammy was because they just said whistles for Sammy.
Yeah, and they just
then I realized it was a dog.
Out there, it's his dog.
And then while we get into each chapter for the dad, every single chapter, he's remembering a memory with his daughter beside him in the car. You disgust me, is what his daughter Anna said.
Yeah, you're like, why did Anna think he's disgusting?
I'm like, why would you say that to your father?
Yeah.
So now I'm intrigued. Not intrigued enough to like this book.
Yeah.
But intrigued. So then we get a little more information and we find out that, is it Sarah who, like, so they were upstairs with Jenny and the friends, and then they hear "God no, please no," and then a terrible noise of crashing and glass smashing as objects are apparently hurled around the room. So they're watching, I believe, the 1 year anniversary. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Jenny just wants to be with her friends. Mm-hmm. Barbara was pissing me off like no end because this mom is way too protective. Like, I mean, to a whole nother extent. God.
Yeah.
And so she was like, no, you need to be with us. And Jenny was like, no, I want to be with my friends. And yeah. So then, like I said, every single chapter ends with something happening.
Okay, but with that glass breaking, I don't remember if they actually say what happened.
No, they don't.
Okay, good. Because I was like, I definitely don't remember them explaining that.
Nope.
Okay.
No, they don't. So then Ella does not want to go to the police at all about these postcards. Stupid.
Just so dumb. Because she truly believes it's Barbara.
Yeah.
Because Ella thought it was a good idea to go apologize to her in person, so she brings flowers that she found out was Anna's favorite flowers, goes to her house and tries to apologize. and Barbara's not having it. And she'd be like, why are you here? What are flowers gonna do? Plus, it's her daughter's favorite flower, so of course it's just gonna be like even more of like, oh, my daughter. And so Ella thinks these photos are from Barbara and hires a private investigator.
Yeah, which is stupid.
And even he's like, why aren't you taking this to the police? And she's just like, well, I don't want to cause more problems for Barbara.
Yeah. And so then right off of the get-go, Sarah tries to kill herself.
But in her words, she didn't realize that's what she was doing when she picked up the pills.
If you swallow more pills than necessary.
And she went to multiple drugstores to buy more of that drug because you can only buy so much at once.
Yeah.
And she told her mom, and her mom's believing it, that it was an accident.
Okay, well, her mom also was pissing me off.
The worst.
Yeah,
Awful.
I could not. So, Sarah's in the hospital, and then we go to... This is where we learn about Matthew, the private investigator. So, Matthew's wife, Sally, is 8 months pregnant. Also, whatever.
Kind of unnecessary. I think it was to give him the perspective that when the baby's born, he's like, oh, now I understand why the parents want their kids back. It's like, you didn't get that before? Yeah. Like, with the urgency that they want their kid. Yeah, it's all unnecessary.
Yeah, so then he goes to the Ballards, talks to Barbara. Barbara's like, I never sent anything to Ella.
Mm-hmm.
But
like, maybe talk to my husband about it. And then Matt was like, no need. And she's like, okay. And he was like, well, it kind of seemed like she was relieved that I wouldn't have to talk to him. Barbara and Henry Ballard's relationship it's a little rocky.
More like a lot. Yeah, that relationship was shit to begin with, but...
It really was.
And trying to think... So then we get to the witness. Now, Matthew tells Ella, if you get any more postcards, you need to take them to the police.
Yeah.
You also need to tell your husband, because Tony has no freaking idea about these postcards, which also is stupid.
And she feels like she's being watched at her flower shop early in the morning, because she goes in extra early to do the arrangements fresh. And, like, she hears noises, and, like, things are kind of out of place. And she's like, I must be going crazy.
Yeah, so
and the whole deal with Luke, unnecessary.
We're gonna get to that. So now she is the second postcard, I believe. I think this is the second one, which is watch yourself. I do. ... So,
which is grammatically confusing. Like, you watch her the way you want her to watch herself, or like you watch yourself too, like yourself.
Yeah. So then at the end of that chapter, something's going on with Luke. Starts crying like a baby.
Well, she gets that phone call from some lady who's like, how about this time tomorrow? Are you coming? And she's like, who are you? And she's like, Luke didn't tell you. Of course he didn't tell you. Go ask your son. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
It's like, bitch, calm down.
Yes. So I have it. Yeah. So they get a phone call. It says, is this Luke's mother? And she goes, yes, it's Ella Longfield here. Who's this? And she goes, I'm Rebecca Hiller, Emily's mother. I was hoping we could confirm arrangements for the meeting. Ella's like, the meeting? I'm afraid I don't understand. She's like, has Luke not spoken to you? She's
well,
like,
clearly not.
Look, there's no way I'm dealing with this over the phone. I made that very plain to Luke. So, are you free tomorrow or not?
It's like, just say who you are.
That is... Wow, okay. And so then now Ella's feeling bad because obviously something's happening with Luke. And she's gotten too invested in these stupid postcards to figure anything out with her son. So she's like, I'm a horrible mother. And now we're on to the father, which I don't think anything happens with the father.
We just learned that he's grumpy about
literally everything.
Fair.
Literally everything. So then we're going to bounce over to when Luke and the family goes to Emily's house. And they find out that Luke and Emily is Luke's girlfriend. Emily's pregnant.
I put in my notes, I hate everyone, especially Emily, because she's super sus.
Oh.
Not anything to do with the disappearance-wise, but, like, Luke was, like, 100% sure. He's like, I don't know how she got pregnant. Like, we always use condoms. So I feel She poked some holes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
And then she got disappointed when no one else was happy about it either.
That's valid. No, that's valid.
You know what I'm...
I get that.
Yeah.
Well, and then...
And the meeting wasn't even like a meeting. They just go over. No one sits down. No one shakes hands. It's like they kind of walk in. They stand face to face.
Yeah.
Say a few words, and then they leave.
they leave. Yeah. I don't...
I will say, I like how what seems to be a supportive parents of Emily, they're like, she's not sure what she wants to do. She wants to keep it or not. She's thinking about adoption. We'll just go with whatever she decides.
Yeah.
And it's up to her and Luke to talk about it.
I get
we'll
it.
go with that as a final decision. I'm like, that's good. Go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like the fact that Luke's parents didn't even know he was dating, and for Ella to be so surprised her son was having sex in high school.
I think he was 17. I think.
Like, that's not, like, completely shocking.
No. I mean...
And, like...
Yeah.
And throughout this book, Ella's like, am I a prude? Am I wrong to think that these... And she's like, yes. Shut the fuck up.
She says it a lot.
A lot. It's like, if you're continuously asking yourself, maybe it is
maybe you are. So then we get to Sarah, and... I think she's back home by now. Or no, she's in the hospital because they're worried about her liver still. And now she thinks she's going to die.
Yeah.
And at the very end of her chapter, it says she hasn't told anyone about the text from her dad that night. I'm like, okay, well, what is going on?
Do you want to find your friend or not?
Yeah. And like I said, we get into some juicy details about the father. I'm trying to think. I mean...
Who's... next? I think it just goes back to Sarah. Well, you learn that her father left and her mom hates talking about the dad and why he left, and just that they just didn't work out, he cheated on her, whatever, he left.
Yeah, I feel like...
Oh, and Sarah's always mad that her dad comes to see her at the hospital.
Yeah, she doesn't...
Her mom's like, he's just worried about you, let him come up, and she's like, no.
Yeah, so then we get into... I think it's the witnesses. Or no, it's the father. So now his story's starting to go downhill a little bit.
Ugh.
He changes his story.
I was gonna say.
Then he wasn't at home.
Yeah, he told
was
Barbara
out.
to lie for him.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, what actually happened was I went to the bar and I got way too drunk, so I slept in my car. And I wanted Barbara to lie for me and say that I was home because that's just really embarrassing. Sure, dude.
I'm like, it's not embarrassing whatsoever.
That's a noble decision to sleep in your car if you're too drunk.
I'm trying to think of if we should just, go to...
I think we should, because nothing else terribly exciting happens. So, let's go with everyone's...
Should we just go down
through their lies and then the truth?
So, I'm trying to think of...
Well, we can start with... something about Matthew. Let's start with the dad, I guess.
Okay, well, so the dad, come to find out, he was cheating, and he had cheated once already on Barbara.
And she said, one more time, that's done.
And then he did it again.
And then he did it again. So and then lied about it, and then told Barbara to lie about it more.
Yeah, so he cheated with a girl named April.
April is...
Tim's mom, which Tim is part of the, little group with Sarah, Jenny.
Yeah, and you do find out that Paul, Tim, and Jenny were supposed to go with Sarah and Anna on that trip, but they each had something else, and they all ended up bailing.
Yes.
We can go with Sarah and her dad. Her dad having... How do you...
So, trigger warning, because we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
When Sarah got her period.
Her first period.
Her mom was gone.
Out, and her sister wasn't there.
So it was just her and her dad, and she could only find tampons, but she didn't know how to use them. Yeah. And so she was freaking out. Well, I don't even remember what happened or how the dad found out that she was wanting to. I think
he just came home, and then he found her in the bathroom, panicking.
This man.
It's so gross.
Yeah, this is hard. So, this man, I don't even know if they said his name. I'm just going to call him this man. That's what he deserves. So...
Barely.
He told Sarah that he needed to check to make sure that she was woman enough to use a tampon.
And she was like the woman size or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, so the father basically put his fingers
to check
in her to check. So, come to find out, Lily was being sexually assaulted by her dad as well. And
she told their mom didn't believe her.
Yes.
And so Lily moved out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dad ended up moving out.
Yeah, because I think she gave her mom an ultimatum or something.
Yeah, she was like, either he moves out or I do.
So then he did, but then she ultimately moved out too.
Ended up leaving.
And Lily didn't know that until Sarah told her. And
Lily moved out and found a little group of sexual assault victims.
I'm going to call it a cult.
It's very cult-esque. Yeah. It's just like 3 people and the one, not therapist, but like leader, I guess. And they like rename themselves. So Lily goes by Saffron. And it's just, they can talk together having been experiencing the same thing. But yeah, Sarah goes to her. She's like, I think Dad did it. And Lily says what happened to her. And then she says, well, Dad had texted us that day saying he was in town and we should meet up with him at his hotel or something.
Yeah, because Anna originally was feeling way too drunk at the club and went up to Sarah and said, I don't feel safe anymore. I want to go back to the house. Or to the hotel.
Go back to the hotel room.
And Sarah said, don't be a baby. Just go have a drink. Have a good time. And...
go relax. Yeah. I'm going to go try to find Anthony. Because when they got to the club, those 2 guys they had met earlier were there. And they talked to them. But eventually they lost interest and like started talking to other people, other girls. And Sarah was like jealous. And so the whole rest of the night she was trying to get Anthony's attention again. And just kind of left Anna alone.
Yeah.
And so she was worried that Anna did end up calling her dad to catch a ride back or something.
Yeah, so then at one point Ella goes with Matthew. Matthew didn't have any secrets.
No.
So Ella goes
other than kind of having a crush on Melanie.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, whatever.
And so Ella does a ride along with Matthew to the Ballard's place.
Mm-hmm.
For something.
I
don't remember why they were going together.
Oh, well, they eventually find Anthony or Carl. They find Carl out of the country, and he had a blonde woman with him and holding her hostage situation.
Like,
and all of this was live on the news, and they're like, this is awful. It wasn't Anna, it was his girlfriend that he got to protect. Whatever. And it turned out to be nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when... Why did they go to her house?
So at this point, Luke is working with Ella at her florist shop, but he wants to leave. So he's hiring someone to take his position. And he put feelers out. And there were 2 people that he was going to interview the day that Ella left with Matthew to go to the Ballard's house. So that way Luke was at the floral shop alone. Mm-hmm. And he had done this... I want to say it's like an intense Boy Scouts at this point. Like, I
was very confused as to what it was. Well, no, not even Boy Scouts, because there's girls.
That's right. I don't
know what it is.
It basically was like camping to an extreme. I don't know what to tell it. So, he found these 2 people that had been in that group or whatever, did that competition. And so at this point, I think there were 5 postcards that had been sent to Ella. So I think that they were going to talk to the Ballards about the postcards maybe, or something along those lines.
I'm trying to find out why.
So they get to the house, and Ella and Barbara are on good terms now. Mm-hmm. They're fine. And so they're trying to figure out who could possibly have done anything to Anna, all this stuff. And that is when Ella looks at a photo on the piano and says, that man was there that day. Yeah. And they're like, what are you talking about? And she's like, that man was on the train with the girls. I bumped into him on accident when I was coming back. And that's how I remember. And that man was Tim. Now.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Tim was supposed to go with the girls, like Mel had said earlier during this podcast. And I think, I don't remember the excuse to use. They all had excuses in the book on like why they didn't go. Yeah, I think
he ended up going to Scotland or something.
Yeah. So, come to find out, Tim was one of the guys that was gonna possibly be hired for Luke's position at the floral shop. And they got into an altercation because Tim was like, you knew Anna, and Luke goes, no, I don't. And he goes, well, what is this picture of? And I think it was Luke with a bunch of other different people, and Anna was in that photo, but he wasn't talking to her. Mm-hmm. And he goes, Anna had a crush on you. And
you were like you were flirting with her.
Yeah, and Luke said, I don't remember
her, haven't met her.
Yeah. So Tim became very, very obsessed with Anna. Even if a guy looked at her, he would be fixated on her. So come to find out, he met up with Anna.
He made it so she accidentally ran into him.
Yes. And his dad owned a flat. Yeah. That's what they call it.
And when he passed, left it to
Tim
to rent it out so he can get extra money while he was going through school.
Yeah, so Tim was staying there, and they got into a fight because Tim was being creepy.
Really weird, yeah.
And he killed Anna and put her in a freezer.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. No lead up to that.
No, none. And they found her. I want to say that Luke and Tim got into an altercation at the florist shop.
Oh, yeah.
And Luke stabbed him and didn't kill him, but I think he was in a coma at that point.
Yeah, and then he was fine. But Luke also got injured, and he had to get, like, his, like, casted or something.
Yeah, and then Barbara felt bad because she took Tim in when he was a child because he didn't have anyone.
It must have been my fault because he was always, like, alone and his parents sucked, and so I took in this poor kid and be like, shut up.
Oh, Barbara. Yeah, and so the reason that Henry, Anna's father, kept hearing back to Anna calling, you disgust me, well, Tim sent Anna a picture of her dad and Tim's mom hooking up to her phone before she left for the trip because Tim was blackmailing his mother's lovers by having a camera hidden
he
in
catch
her
them in
bedroom.
the act so
What
he can hold it
kind
against
of
their
son
head.
is
I know,
that?
it was so disgusting. Oh, God.
Yeah, Tim was...
so fucking weird.
Tim was a guy, I tell you what.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends.
So Sarah's secret was not telling anyone that she had heard from her dad and that she actually did ditch Anna.
We also forgot to mention that Emily lost the baby.
Oh, Emily did lose the baby.
And Luke and Emily broke up, but they were they were cordial.
Getting better or whatever.
Yeah.
We also forgot that Henry tried to kill himself.
Yeah. He tried to kill himself in the barn with a shotgun.
But he didn't want his family to have to deal with it, so he called the police, but would only talk to Melanie.
Yeah.
And he ended up pointing a gun at police officers when they arrived, and he had to stay in prison for a night or whatever, but it all does not matter. I'm genuinely contemplating, I'm probably going to end up getting rid of this book. I don't feel the need to keep it. Might as well get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care.
It was just a lot. Like, I don't think it was because it was too many characters. I don't think that was the problem.
I don't think... I've read a book with 10 perspectives. That was much.
But
these are fine.
But also, I feel like there was just too many things going on in
it was
all
too
of their
much
lives.
Of nothing. Because it didn't have to really back at all to the actual crime. Like, if we heard more from Tim's watching perspective, more of that, like, of who he's following, why he's following, more of, like, oh, I've been watching her since blah, 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 and then, like, more of, like, oh, she keeps talking to this guy, and then you could have been like, oh my god, who's watching her, who she was talking to in the guy, like, in the club, like, it could have, if a different author wrote this story, it would have been good.
Shots fired.
I mean...
Damn.
If this was like a Lisa Jewell perspective, like book? Or Sherry LaPena?
Sherry LaPena always has
Even?
my heart when it comes to thriller. Like I tell you,
So good.
I get anxiety when reading her in like the best way possible. I'm trying to find. I really should have like kept tabs on it. You'd think we'd get better at this, but we
About
haven't.
what?
I was trying to figure out how many total pages are in this book. Can you look that up for me?
Oh, 287.
Okay. Oh, shorter than I
That was really
anticipated.
short.
Okay. And then we get, so out of those, you said
87.
287. We get 1, 2, 3, 4 pages from the watcher's perspective. 4.
It's so dumb.
That's it.
And they're not even hints of anything. You don't know when or where he is. It's literally just the watcher saying, I'm watching. And
Yeah.
that's it.
So the first one is at 9 p.m. The next one's 8 p.m. Then it goes Friday, then Thursday. Out of
like
what?
In respect to what?
Yeah.
Like leading, I don't know. Oh, and the postcards you find out, the first few were Jenny, and then she told Tim she was doing it and that she felt bad, and then Tim took over and ended up sending the last couple.
Yes, the first 2 were Jenny, and then the last ones were Tim. So out of, I wanted to look on Goodreads. Out of 100, we'll say 150,000. It's like 148,809. It's gotten a 4.01.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
For a Goodreads rating.
Yeah.
I will say. But what's the breakup of it? Oh yeah, mostly 4s.
It's mostly
There's a
4.
few 2s and a few 1s. Some people just didn't finish it.
Some people just didn't finish
Some
it.
people DNF'd it. Oh boy.
Yeah. Like I said, the ending had some good twists.
Kind of.
And
like I kind of want to drop this to a 2.5 now that
like this one girl said, I was very excited for this book. It seemed exciting and thrilling, and then it wasn't.
And then it wasn't. Yeah. It just there wasn't a sense of what they say.
Kaylin on Goodreads rated it a 1 star. In the author's note, Teresa mentions how this novel started its journey as a short story before she decided to expand it. I wish she hadn't.
Yeah. See, I was like, it felt like it wanted to be a short story, but she's like, no, I want to write a book instead.
Someone else, it was very boring. Oh.
What were some of the 5-star reasons? I'm curious.
Let's see. Carol said, great read, amazing plot, never saw it coming.
Yeah, but her name is Carol. So...
Renita, I love this author's writing, and her previous 2 novels are among my favorite reads ever.
Oh, okay.
Great, fast-paced read. I usually don't read unknown authors, but decided to read this under my Kindle Unlimited plan.
It was fast.
It's a gripping psychological thriller that I found very intriguing and almost impossible to put down.
It was not psychological at all.
I was indifferent on this book. I didn't think it was like the worst book I've ever read, but I could put it down and not be like, meh.
Yeah, if I lost this book or something in the middle of reading it, I wouldn't be mad.
I would be. That's just...
Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I need another copy or something. I'd be completely content with not knowing.
Yeah, it was very...
Because I wouldn't have been able to guess who it was, but that's because there's no reason for it to be him.
There's just so much unnecessary information. Like, there was so much sexual assault that I just didn't need to know.
Unnecessary. Sarah saying she was bullied because she was being slut-shamed because Anna was like the popular one or whatever, and she wanted to get attention, so she started just blowing guys. And then rumor went around that like, oh, she blew 2 different guys at the same party, and she's like, it was true. like,
that's right.
Why does it matter?
Yeah.
It did not matter. Luke getting that girl pregnant, unnecessary. We didn't need to know anything about Luke and his personal life. Not a thing. I didn't care about Henry growing up on that farm and him being worried of having to make it a touristy thing to keep the farm because Barbara never wanted to be on a farm, but she married a farmer. Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, there was a lot of unnecessary.
It probably would have made a good short story.
Yeah.
She should not have made it a novel.
Nope. I'm sure she's a great author. It takes a lot to write a book.
It really does.
But I just didn't care for this book.
what you can't do to write a book is just add things.
Like,
to make it
I
a book.
almost want to bring it down to 3 stars.
I kind of want to bring it down to a 2.5. I'm probably going to bring it down to a 2.5.
I'm just going to bring it down to 3 while we speak.
Let's just ceremoniously make that change on Goodreads. On the top of the Goodreads, you should follow us or friend us on Goodreads.
Yeah.
You can see what we're reading, what's on our TBR. We keep it updated pretty well.
Yeah, so Mel and I just had a girls' day where we went and went down
buck
to...
wild.
We really did. Went to Eugene, Oregon to take a look at their bookshops.
Mm-hmm.
And did we spend way more money than we wanted to? Hell yes. Yeah. I have so many books
Mm-hmm.
that I have books not in my house because I've got no room for them. I will say we found some really great indie bookstores.
Oh, yeah.
Which included Smith Family Bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I brought up my...
Yeah.
J. Michael's Bookstore, Tsunami Books, and Black Sun Books are some of the ones that we really, really enjoyed.
Really cute books. Good selection.
I will say, hands down, indie company in Eugene, Smith's Family Bookstore, hands down.
Man. 2 stories.
My absolute favorite. That bookstore got me so overwhelmed that at one point one of the employees found me and took the books out of my hands.
Yeah, she's like, do you want me to put those up front for you?
Yeah,
you don't have arm space.
I didn't have any arms anymore.
It was amazing. A crazy selection of mystery thrillers.
Oh my god.
Of romance. That was the most romance. And diverse romance.
Other than Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, than it was so good.
If you, like I said, if you are in the Eugene, Oregon area and you are able to go to Smith's Family Bookstore. Check it out. Because they've got really new releases. They've got a ton. I mean, we've talked about Mary Kubecca before.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her books really very much.
No, and it's always the same 2.
It's the local
woman missing.
Yeah.
I hate the order of that title though.
But they had a ton from her.
Oh yeah.
They even had some of the Book of the Month.
Mm-hmm.
And
they had it all in shelves. There was a couple piles stacked, but the building itself was so spacious. The walkways were spacious, so you don't feel crowded and books coming at you. It was...
I just felt very overwhelmed by how many they had.
Just the sheer amount.
We didn't even look through all the fiction books.
No, there was no way. We would have been there all day.
Yeah. And then we went crazy at Barnes & Noble.
I've never been that wild in Barnes & Noble. Yeah. We literally filled baskets each.
Yeah.
There was no space in that basket anymore.
We are going to do a bonus episode.
Surprise!
Some point.
Eventually.
We don't have that. But I think we'll talk about maybe some of the books that we had bought.
Yeah.
There. Like I said, I think I bought...
I had 20-something.
I think I had 33.
Oh. I forgot you bought more than me.
I think I had 33.
They were so good.
But I also bought some
collector
I was going to say some fun fact about me that you guys don't know unless you know me personally. I collect Peanuts, the comic book, Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and they had some fantastic collector's items that I had found.
Oh, yeah.
And one very special one that I found was a leather bound, I believe, first edition. I feel like maybe I gotta get someone's input on it. Maybe Abe knows. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a leather bound Charlie Brown Christmas. It's just all the comics.
It's beautiful.
Christmas. Yeah. I can't find another one other than $300 one.
Yeah.
I personally bought it for $60.
Yeah.
My mom said that was a little too much. I looked at her and said, you're crazy. So, to each their own. But, yeah, so I got quite a bit. I bought the newest biography of Charles Schulz.
Yeah. After you were telling me about it, I was like, did you have all his biographies? And
I
you're
just
like,
have the
no,
first
I
one.
have.
Yeah, so now I have both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I found, I think, 3 or 4 of the collector's edition. So Charles Schulz, I mean, not him personally, but there's books that you can buy that...
The actual comic strips, they, like, bound it all in a book.
Yeah.
Per
year
era.
Yeah, it starts in 1950, ends in 2000. So I found, I think, 3 or 4 of them during that time.
Beautiful condition. Nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, so I spent lots of money.
Finds.
And it was a fun day.
So now we have indie shops we like in Eugene and in Salem.
Yes.
And Albany.
Well,
there's a few more.
Abe's will always be number 1.
Yeah, I was going to say Browsers is just
our home.
A second home there.
Yeah, so eventually we will get to Portland.
Oh, man.
Portland
We're going to go wild in Powell's. If you don't know what Powell's is, it is a ginormous used and new book
I believe
store.
The biggest in Oregon.
They have a couple locations, but the Powell's in downtown Portland is the biggest deal.
The world's largest independent bookstore.
The world's largest?
World's largest.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, maybe you do know what Powell's is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll make it out there eventually. Portland is quite a trek. Not physically, but more emotionally and mentally. So,
yeah, we don't do well
with...
with...
like, a weekend.
We don't do well with lots of people.
We're not city people anymore.
Yeah, or the traffic.
Ugh,
it's very complicated. Parking. Yeah, we're gonna have to like stay the night and then walk
it'd be
in.
a weekend that we have to figure out, but we will eventually. But for now, we've got some good options.
Yes, and next week is I'm starting to read it as I'm grabbing it. Colleen Hoover.
Woo!
Woo! We love her. This is the first book we've actually done of hers on our podcast.
So I think you've read a couple more than I have.
Yeah, I've read Verity, Ugly Love, It Ends With Us, and I
think you did. Did you not do November 9?
Yes, I did. You're
right.
I
think that's the only. I haven't read that one yet. I completely forgot. I wanted to read November 9 on November 9th. Oh. And then it was towards the end of November 9th, and I saw a bunch of people posting like their November 9 on November 9 picture, and I was like, oh yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So next week we're doing All Your Perfects, which
All Your Perfect.
We have not read.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think this was her second most recent book.
Oh, that I have no idea.
I don't know.
I could not tell you that one. But I think I'm on like chapter 3 right now.
Excited. But yeah, you can check out our Instagram for the rest of our December schedule. We release these episodes every Sunday at noon Pacific Standard Time. And you should check out our Instagram for nice photos of what we're doing.
Yes.
What we bought.
Keep listening and following us. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we'll post when we're going to post that extra episode. I don't know when.
I'm thinking maybe like the last week of December, maybe as a little extra Christmas.
We also need to figure out maybe putting something up on a giveaway, maybe for the holiday season.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
I think we're at like 60 something followers. So like I said, I think we talked about getting to about 100, but
yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out and keep following us and let us know what you think. She loves doing it. She really loves doing that, guys. But yeah, so that was I Am Watching You.
I hope that wasn't too negative or anything. We don't want to like bash anyone. Every book, and obviously there's 5 stars on it. This is a good book to some people, just not us. Not for us.
Yeah,
it's
for me. It's just not for everyone. And thumbs down. Oh. Yeah. I didn't know where you were going with that.
I like how you're going instinctively for a high five.
I didn't know where she was going. I was ready for it. I was like, okay.
There was no question about it. You were just going to high five for it.
All right. Well, that was our episode, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, guys.